So this week I hit 100 subscribers on this channel, so thank you to everyone who's subscribed and everyone who watches. I thought I'd do something special to kind of mark that occasion, so I'm going to open one of each of the first 9 sets from the Star Wars CCG, premiere all the way up to Death Star 2. So this runs 1995 to the year 2000. There were some other sets in this time, but these are the main releases. I do sell this a version of this lot, so these 9 packs from my store, and that lot has been selling pretty well recently, so I definitely thought I'd want to open up some of these myself while I still have a good supply of them left. So we'll go in chronological order, starting with Premiere, and I'll clear off the other packs to the side here. And all sorts of good stuff available in Premiere. This was one of those sets where they had the multiple rarities, so it's a lot harder to get a Luke Skywalker, for example, than it is to get a obscure Y-Wing, but we'll see what's in here. This is limited edition. These older packs always seem kind of brittle, so they're tough to open while keeping the pack intact. And they start out with uncommons on the top. And it's worked pretty well lately to count 4 cards in. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That means that's probably our rare. It's a light side card here. So we'll put that one last. Alright. Starting out with electro binoculars. This was an error text, I believe, because it was fairly broken if you actually use this text to be able to use one force to look at a card and then move it to your force pile. You could do that basically until you ran out of cards in your deck. Always nice to get Destiny 6 cards, especially back in Premiere. Gaffy sticks, nice for knocking weapons away. Not sure if I've ever seen it used, but especially if Vader or if Obi-Wan was planning on swinging a lightsaber, that might be a unwelcome surprise. Okay, we're back to that first uncommon we saw. A Gonk droid. A Dothchus, that's a decent uncommon to get. And then our rare is an effect. Okay, so it is a rare one, so it's one of the more rare of the cards you could get. And it's pretty useful today when it's been virtualized into the diplomatic mission to Ultron objective decks. So that was Premiere, late 1995 I think that was. Next is A New Hope. I always like the purple color of these packs. And this had cards like Chewbacca, R2-D2, the Death Star. Those are kind of the main ones you get. And of course, Red 5 too. Luke's X-Wing and Wedge's X-Wing. And Wedge. So there's a lot of decent stuff in here. Starting out with the uncommons again. We'll try to put the rare last. So I think that's the first grabber effect to help reduce overplayed interrupts. And there were definitely a lot of them back then. Great cards for canceling Nebran leads. Okay, so one of the Imperial officers you can use on a Star Destroyer, especially now that he's been virtualized. And we're coming up on our... Okay, so another unique Jawa right before the rare. That's interesting. And the rare is an Ion Cannon. So that's a rare too. There's worse cards to get, but I don't know. It's fun to imagine using these in a deck, especially on a B-Wing, knocking out somebody's armor or maneuver, and then shooting with a proton torpedo. Next up is Hoth, the first Empire Strikes Back set. And I should have paid more attention to my other videos, because I'm sure there's a specific order for the rares that you get in these too. But we're just going to see what we get, because they started to do these inserts with their contact info on them, which changed the order a little bit. So Battle of Hoth was definitely one of my favorite things in the movies, and a lot of cool cards, of course, from this set that go along with it. Looks like we're in the commons now, if I had to guess. But Ormantel, I'm guessing, is an uncommon. Okay, so there's a nice rare one to get. Definitely more useful back when they were doing the older virtual cards, the Legacy era, era when they had it virtualized, but still a rare one, and it's one that's good enough to sell as a single from my store, so I'm always happy to get something like that. A lot of the cards that we get are bulk rares, and some good uncommons it looks like. So Snowspeeder. Wow, okay, that's a pretty good uncommon, and that's a weapon. Is that an AT-80 cannon? Oh, it's a probe braid laser. Okay, but still, not bad to get a starter for a captain. She's a pretty useful pilot, and Snowspeeders are always cool, even though this particular card isn't super useful. Into Dagobah now, the first 9-card set. I should say 9-card booster pack set. The set was 180 cards, I believe. And in these ones, it's fairly simple. The rare is always the last card in every pack I can recall opening. An insert card. That seems like it'd be annoying to face if you have a low Destiny card deck. I never really was in the game when insert cards were a thing. By the time I was really playing somewhat seriously, defensive shields were already around, so that was kind of curtailed. This introduced asteroids, so just at any turn, even without battling, your ship could be smashed by an asteroid. More officers, always nice to get Imperial officers. Got a Jedi test number 2. And our rare is an interrupt, effective repairs. So, seemed like it would have been a pretty useful card at the time to basically take any, and it's not retrieval, so it looks like you can take any effect into your hand from your lost pile if you lost a key effect. So, not a terrible card to get. Now we're into the sets that are a bit cheaper. Cloud City and Jabbas Palace are the next two, and they're available for well under $10 a pack even today, while other sets, some are up over 100. That would basically be Reflections 3. But Cloud City, main card from Cloud City is Boba Fett. He's always a possibility. And lots of other main characters too. The first Landos are in this set. Remember playing this card at the Nebraska State Tournament. I did lose the game, but it was fun to play. And I think I played it later at the Montana State Tournament too, but just having Luke captured by Vader and then being able to have Luke take the brunt of Vader getting hit by a weapon was always fun to do. If you can make the light side swing and hit their own main character, then you're probably doing something right. Pretty nifty card for escaping a battle. I always like the systems, the planets they do in this game. Just cool pictures. And our rare's up next, so another... Okay, that's a decent interrupt to get. But yeah, if you're opening Cloud City, there's a good chance your rare's going to be an interrupt. Okay, on to Jabbas Palace now. I remember going to the local grocery store, and these packs, I think they were selling them for $1. I don't remember exactly when that was, but... there's a few good cards you can get. Of course, Jabba's in this set. There's a Lando, a Leia, and an R2. But some of the better cards are actually interrupts in this one, like Blaster Deflection. I'm having a hard time getting this one open. We'll see what I can do here. It's a Jabbas Palace wrapper in any case. Not too big of a deal if I mess up the wrapper. There's plenty more where that came from. So if you like non-unique aliens, this is the set for you. I'm actually reading the Tales from Jabbas Palace right now, so I'm going to see a lot of familiar faces or a lot of things I would have heard of. It's a pretty good collection of stories, even though it's not, canon anymore. So lots of non-unique aliens we're going to see, some with pretty interesting game text. Couple sites. And our rare is Murtakian. Oh, and it's got a little bit of an ink defect there, so those are always interesting to see. Pretty expensive to use his game text, but basically being able to search your deck for aliens, that was a much bigger deal back in the day, I'm sure. Whereas nowadays, lots of stuff you can go search for in your deck. And Jabbas Palace was just a cool set overall in terms of having all those background characters that had, 1 second of screen time out of focus in the back of the frame, and then they are suddenly have their own backstory and game text. So, special edition now. Lots of good cards in this set. They came out with the rule book for this one, basically called it Star Wars 2.0, so they had a lot of changes to the rules. Some of the bigger ones had actually been in Jabbas Palace. I believe that's where they started Battlegrounds, so trying to get players to interact more instead of just sitting at a site with no icons for the other player and draining with lightsabers. I'm not sure if that's how it was back then, but that's kind of the stories I hear. I almost feel like I left a card in that pack, did I? No. But the wrapper opened fairly nicely, except for the top corner there. Alright, felt a little thin at first. Okay, so interesting 2 cards to start out with. Operatives were just especially overpowered with the objective they did, and they had to totally change this guy's game text to make it once per game for him to do either of those things, which really makes it not that great of a card anymore. But something about infinite circulation and basically causing a game to go to time before your opponent ever gets to take their second turn. I don't remember all the details, but it was definitely a fun read and just shows how a dedicated player can get a lot more creative than the designers and playstesters sometimes. Okay, nice. An X-Wing cannon. Very powerful weapon, can make a ship go straight lost. I've always tried to get this to work to be able to stack for retrieval, but especially with shields it's hard to do. Nice non-unique ship to get, especially for playing quad lasers from Premiere. And our rare is going to be in effect. Okay, strategic reserves. So now that the First Order Troopers deck has been changed and this no longer really exists for them, it's kind of gone down in value, but it's still a card I sell as a single, so it's always nice to get one of those. Not too much in terms of characters yet, or at least recognizable characters, ships, or weapons, but getting into Endor now, and these are where the packs get a bit more expensive, up in the $30+ range Endor is. This is a set that I don't know if I bought any of back when it came out. I think Special Edition was kind of the last one for whatever reason for a while, until Tatooine came out, and that was an Episode 1 set. And Endor, they did foils within the actual set, which is I think the only set they did that, where the foils would come within a regular release set. Unfortunately, they would often replace the rare. So instead of getting a rare card you might want, you might get a common foil like an Elite Squadron Stormtrooper or the Ewok Village. Hope I didn't jinx myself with that. At least the Stormtroopers you can play more than one. But good card for helping out scouts. Of course, you're going to see Ewoks in Endor, no doubts there. And I think the rares tend to come in the middle here. I almost wonder if this is it. It is. Count me in. So another effect, not a great one, but pretty cool if you get all those to work together. There's one for Luke, Leia, Han, and Chewie, I believe, reenacting that scene where they're all joining the Endor Strike Team mission, and gives them a lot of huge bonuses together. But there's always some backstory with the unique characters here that they just show in the background. And the back door. So a 2/2 battleground. Alright, let's see if our luck changes a bit on the Death Star 2 pack here. So lots of good stuff possible in Death Star 2. All sorts of unique Star Destroyers and Rebel capital ships. There's of course a Luke and an Emperor Ultra Rare in here. There's a Vader that's possible. And just a lot of cool starfighters too. So pretty much any time the rare I get in a Death Star 2 pack is a starship, I'm happy. We'll see if we can get something like that. TIE Interceptor, cool looking card, cool looking ship too. Okay, I think the rares are towards the middle in Death Star 2 in these packs, but it's hard to say. Okay, couple systems. Okay, that's not our rare. That is our rare. It's an Admiral's Order of some kind. Oh, and that's one of the better ones to get. Nice. So, Admiral Orders have taken a step back a bit because of cards like Dengar and General Leia that make them their game tech suspended and the new Thrawn. But hey, if you're going to get an Admiral's Order, this is probably the best light side one to get. useful card for Bring Him Before Me, one of my favorite decks. Alright, well, that was a decent run of packs, but I don't know, I was kind of hoping for something a bit more main character or starshipy, so in reserve I kept a couple of Reflections packs, so we'll open up these two and see what we might get. So Reflections was reflecting, as you might guess, based on the first 6 sets. Premier, A New Hoth, I guess first 7. Premier, A New Hope, Hoth, Dagobah, Cloud City, Jabbas Palace, and Special Edition. So they did foil versions of, I wouldn't say necessarily the best cards from those sets, but in a lot of cases the most desirable cards. So you're going to good chance for a lot of main characters here. Luke's, Leia's, Han's, Vader's, Obi-Wan's. And these are always kind of a crapshoot in terms of where the rares are going to be, what cards you're going to get, but it's usually a decent mix of the sets. And looks like we got a starter deck of Special Edition here, because these are the fixed cards from it. So these are cards you would only find in the starter deck, so they probably broke down a bunch of starter deck sheets they had, or maybe starter decks, I don't really know how that worked, to make these, to get people cards from Special Edition. Okay, so we do get a rare and Reflections pack. That isn't always the case, and a decent Jabbas Palace one too. He can basically steal somebody's game texts. They kind of go in reverse order here. I can guess another Human Shield. Nice, I like this card. Guessing we're coming up on our foils soon. So Cloud City. And then we're going straight to Premier. And it looks like, okay, well there we go, a foil Death Star. That's nice. So I believe that's a super rare foil, and we'll try to get it in the light here. So, just a cool looking card overall. And it's not a main character, but I count it as a main, so very nice. Just a pretty card. They got some white border stuff in here. Okay, a Power Harpoon. So overall, it's a pretty decent pack. We get a rare, a good foil. That's a nice pack right there. And Reflections 2, since I said I was already going to open it. All sorts of stuff we can get in here. The set introduced Thrawn, some of you probably recognize, most of you probably recognize. Prince Shizor, Mara Jade, and the Wookiee Bounty Hunter Snuva. Not really sure where he came from. I think Chewbacca disguised himself as him or something. And starting out with a semi-main character, uncommon. Ooh, that's a tough one. Okay. Let's forget about this wrapper. Okay. So there's our Dodonna. Very good nowadays with the new Yavin 4 deck. There's a rare, Unfriendly Fire. Okay, nice. That's a good way to end it. So R2-D2 in red 5. So a main character and a main starship all rolled into one. Pretty crazy card in terms of Luke deploying free aboard. R2 provides an extra 2 power maneuver and hyperspeed. And of course being able to choose a 0 or 7. So very neat card. And of course shiny. It's always good to see shiny. Just going to do that for a few more seconds. Alright, let's move on. Insulting Protocol Droids. We're going to see some premium cards here too. So there's always a combo card. Ooh, and our other one is a Black Sun Fleet. So that's not so great. But and our Japanese card is our first catch of the day. So adds to Tractor Beam Destiny. Seems like I'm always getting Dark Side Japanese when I open Reflections 2 packs. Even though I think you can get it from any Japanese set. A pretty good pilot for red 10. Operatives. Oh, that's funny. So we get Theranet and his X-Wing in the same pack. Not sure if I can recall seeing that before, but always nice to get a ship and its matching pilot. And that's one of the cooler looking X-Wing pictures in my opinion. Classic TIE Fighter. And ending with Precise Attack. So overall, started out a bit rocky, but I'm very satisfied with the foils I got at the end there. Quite a bit of glare there. So very pretty card along with the Death Star. Anyways, thanks for watching this video. And to those of you who have subscribed, a special thank you to you. I'll probably be doing another video soon, so I hope you tune in for that. Thanks again.